plane crash. Diorama in HO scale. Are they interesting? Yes. Are we going to do them today? Definitely. I don't know why I looked there. There's not really a camera set up there. So. Welcome to the Wizard's Brush. My name, as you know, is absolutely irrelevant. I got a call today from Ben from Worcester Terrariums. Paramount Plus have asked Ben to do a terrarium based on their new show Castaways. He's asked me to make some miniatures in HO scale. You know, people are like this, they're teeny tiny. The plane is probably going to be a little bit too big for my print bed, so we're going to scale that down to 1/120th. Anyway, I've been given 3 days to do this, so there's an absolute time crunch, sort of last minute thing, so I really better get on with this. We're going to do that now. With maximum haste and desperation, I'm scrolling through the internet trying to find a decent passenger plane STL. Came across this one that has some fantastic inside details and, well, outside details obviously, and it's in 1/56 scale, so I'm going to have to scale that down to 1/120th. Printing out in my resin printer, my Anycubic Photon 102, curing and washing, then removing the supports using various tools. Bit of extra curing to make sure the insides are all cured, and then I'm filing away and sanding away all of the support marks, and then moving on to the damage. So I like to do a lot of damage work before I paint, and this is what really makes the difference to any kind of weathering process. And I learned this off the Feral Painter, amazing channel, so go check that out. A while later, the central body of the plane has printed, and now I'm going to be preparing this much in the same manner, putting it in isopropyl, which washes off all of the uncured resin, and making sure I swill that around in there, get as much out as possible. And after washing with water, I'm removing the supports from the inside and checking the other parts to make sure they fit. A little bit more damage work here on the body. Then priming in Rust-Oleum white, and by this time the wing had printed also. And then we're going to be adding some black wash all over the top of the white first off to give it some sort of dirt and texture and contrast. And then we're going to be building up with dry brushing back up to a white, and it just causes this sort of voluminous, damaged look. The reason we are painting these separately is because each one takes a long time to print, and I've only got 3 days to do this. So I sort of have to do this in a slightly backward way. Usually I'd print all of the components, put them together, and then paint them. And here I'm using various techniques to add more damage to the components. And dry brushing here the body up to the same standard as the others. Now, in the meantime, the wing had printed, so I'm doing the same process here to get that ready. So, being in a crazy rush, I decided to try a new technique and use resin to paint over the gap with an old brush and cure that in place to blend the tail and the body together, and it seems to work. In the meantime, I'm adding little bits of weathering to all of the other components and adding a few metal pieces, some dark blue floor inside the cockpit, and some small details on the display panels in the cockpit as well, while it's still separate from the main body. Obviously all of this is just being done very, very quickly because I've got very little time to do it, and we're not going to see much inside the plane anyway in the video. So just cleaning off some of the components, using sandpaper here was quite interesting because it sanded down the area where I blended and dry brushed over the top. Then blue floors on the inside of the main plane, which is an absolute nightmare, and sort of regretted doing that, but oh well, it looks cool now. Some burn marks on the tailpiece. Now the incredibly annoying task of gluing the cockpit on. Lovely pair of wings there, printed, nice one. Got to remove the support marks the same way as before, now damaging them. So I'm going to go really, really heavy with the damage on the one wing because it's going to be separate from the body. Using a hobby knife to scratch and my pokey device and my file just to do some really heavy damage on the edge of the wings. Now, I thought I was going to be incredibly awesome here and make a unique base whilst filming myself on my camera, on my phone, and making the plane at the same time. And I thought, yeah, it's plenty of time, 3 days, no problem. So I got some foam, cut around it, measured where the plane would have hit and scraped against the ground. I added some PVA so that the next step would stick, and that is the clay, shaping it into an island/beach. And then I even added a magnet here so that I could magnetize the plane to the base, and then created some sort of rocky, muddy textures, and then started molding a sort of rock cave area. Using super glue, I'm going to fix the wing to the main body of the plane. Then I'm going to use my makeshift technique of using resin to blend the two areas together and make the gap disappear. Usually I'd recommend using green stuff for this, but in a pinch this seemed to work really nicely. You've just got to sand it down and file it down afterwards. So again, here using washes and black paint, I'm sort of building up the dirt and burn marks underneath before dry brushing. Then I noticed that the wing in this production picture I had from Castaways is broken in two, so I did that with some clippers and added some more damage on the edges. Painted the props black and then added some burn marks on the wing there. And then using the dry brush here to fuse all the elements and focusing on edges here to kind of give a sense of edge highlighting, kind of make it pop a little bit. And then I'm generally fusing all the components, moving as fast as I can to get this finished. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, then please consider doing so. Do it right now, please, thank you. And if you're enjoying the video, then press upon the like button. If you'd like me to do more projects like this, then please put that down below in the comment section. I discovered that using sandpaper here kind of made it look like the paint had been chipped along the edges. And then I painted on the name of the plane, which looks, you know, fine. At this point, the painting of the plane is pretty much done, so now I'm starting to add basing materials as weathering, so little bits of leaves and grass and mud that it's picked up as it's crashed into the desert island beach forest jungle zone. And I ran out of charcoal, so I thought it'd be super fun to use some matchsticks to burn and, you know, draw on burny bits. I don't know, it didn't really work. And then using some of this little stick stuff that Ben gave me, I can't remember what it's called, but it looks like little trees. And then I glued a magnet inside, which was a nightmare. And then finally used a matte varnish to seal it all in and protect it from the humid environment of the terrarium. Now, scouring the internet, finding STLs for miniatures is very interesting. It's incredibly easy to find, you know, like a demon with 9 heads on the moon riding a surfboard made of turtles. But finding a man in a tank top or just a woman, you know, wearing clothes is somehow incredibly difficult. But eventually I found these ones and they work perfectly for what we need. So I printed these off in breakneck speed. And these guys are going to be sitting around a campfire. So I made a foam base. There they are, sitting down, being glued on next to a campfire. Lovely jubbly town. I'm using the painted on UV resin technique from earlier to create a bit of ground texture. I like things to have weight, so I used a 2p, glued that in there, UV resined over the top, and then primed the miniature, and then zenithal primed it. Painted the ground brown, and then added this sandy texture, mixed that into the brown, and then added some more brown to the wood and just added some texture to the ground, kind of making it look as realistic as possible. A little bit of greenery over the top, and then using some grey dry brushing, I did the stones and the campfire and the fire itself. So moving at incredible speed because I'm really feeling this time crunch, I'm dry brushing up using this skeleton bone, all of the bits on the base. Now I'm painting the woman's dress in skeleton bone and then starting to paint up all the flesh tones. I'm painting this guy's t-shirt, painting the fire, and then quick Agrax Earthshade, and then starting to raise the skin tones using this barbarian flesh, painting up all of the white and gold details on the pilot. Then using red and orange contrast paint to paint all of the wounds and the dress details on the woman, and then finally adding some basing details to the base. And now we're done. Okay, there's the base, not finished because I haven't got time, and then printing all of the remaining people, and they're going to be standing on a beach, so I'm starting to build up using sandy textures, painting the faces, and then all of the other details like the t-shirts and trousers and things like that. washes, nice and quick and easy. And dry brushing up from there. And then finishing off the flesh tones. After my own time crunch survival hell, it is finally done. Crashed plane and survivors. I'm pretty happy with the result. I'm liking the weathering. I think there's a lot I'd do differently if I had more time, but no time to think about that. I've got to send it off to London. It's literally got to go today, and hopefully it'll make it in time for Ben's video. The Wizard's Brush is a brand new channel, so for my very survival, please subscribe and like, and pop the notification bell so you never miss a survival type situation. If you like these kind of collaborative projects, or if you have any ideas for me, please leave them down in the comments. I will read them. And if you want to see more miniature mayhem, then you're gonna have to click here. All right, sorry, you're still here. Yeah, that's it. It's over. It's ended. So.